interested in is, well, to re-emphasise the point which our planning officer made on energy efficient houses, that the health and safety do include solar panels. When this development is completed, will be in the 2030s, 2030s, the council therefore will be a long way down its objectives of reducing climate change. So to build all these homes that have solar panels is absolutely crazy. So I'll take that as read.
Sorry, Councillor Lee, we'll be able to go into detail on that at the detailed application at a later date. And if you want to stick to this actual application, there's an opportunity when the detailed plans come back.
Right. The next thing then is because we're concentrating on that road north to south, which is linking Burtree Lane and Rotary Way. What discussions has been held on the additional traffic going down the A68 and the 167? Because at the moment, as people who live in the north part of Darlington would agree, it is chock-a-block as we stand at the moment. So that additional 2,000 homes will have quite an effect on the A68 and the 167, depending which way you leave. So, not the highways officer would answer that, or you can answer that, but it does need addressing sooner than later. Thank you.
I'm happy to offer some initial thoughts on that, if you don't mind. It's 750 dwellings on 2,000 units in the first phase of the application. This has been assessed in the TA, which demonstrate that there are no severe impacts on any junctions. On the rest, there is a delivery of strategic infrastructure which is designed to improve traffic flow in the longer term in Darlington. Like what this big road does have a point closure in the middle of it, so you're not going to get traffic going up and down until that's agreed with highways. And there is over £1.2 million worth of investment in the junctions to improve the A68 and the A66, which is part of the local plan process.
Also, Councillor, I'm sure the highways officer will, and maybe actually your comments there when we go open it up for officer discussion. Yes, Councillor.
Thank you, Chair. A lot of this discussion seems to be mired around when the delivery is going to be. But so, do you have an idea of actually when these houses would be delivered if they were to get permission? There's 750 to start with.
So the first phase is the infrastructure phase, so that is the delivery of the road.
Yeah, but we're talking, you're the ones talking about the outline permission.
Yeah.
I think if you brought an application for a road, we talk about a road, you've got outline permission.
Yeah.
So when do you expect, if you were to receive it, that the 750 houses will be built by?
So as I was saying, the first phase is the infrastructure phase, so that takes around a year to deliver the road, so there may be within that first year some cells probably to the south of the site, may come forward towards the end of that year, so that could be as early as probably next year. But the trajectory is probably looking at around 7 to 10 years to deliver out that 750, which is what we included in our applications.
There is within with the information provided a 20-year development plan on the site as a whole, if I remember rightly. Is that correct?
There is in terms of the master plan, because you may get future applications for later phases and there are non-residential uses, so the consent would be a 15-year consent to allow for details in for the school, for the local centre, to provide information. So it could be as long as 15 years if development was slow, and then hoping with involvement is there to really accelerate the deliveries. Hence, typically 30 dwellings an annum for one developer, but you have a couple of developers, 2 or 3 developers on the site. That's why 750 could be 7%, we would estimate.
A lot will depend on the market though, won't it?
Exactly.
Any further questions from? Thank you very much. There will be an opportunity to come back to the table later on in the meeting, if you wish to do so. We'll go now to Mr. Clark, if you want to come to the table, please. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Chair. Afternoon, Planning Committee members. We haven't got long, so I'll go straight into it. I'd like to bring your attention to Environmental Agency letter that was uploaded to this planning application on the 4th of April. And it does actually say, and I quote word for word, additional foul flows created by the proposed development may put water body at risk of deterioration. To prevent the water body from achieving good ecological potential. Therefore, it will not be appropriate to connect the development to stress form until the applicant has demonstrated that there is no environmental impact by accommodating this proposed development until treatment works have sufficiently been upgraded. Please note, we will not accept connection of non-mains drainage and treatment, even temporarily. The development should only connect foul flows to main drains once it is determined there's sufficient capacity. Officer Coates did talk about an email he had from Northumbrian Water. I also had one in February under an environmental information request, and I asked about the capacity of stress form, and as Officer Coates did reiterate that they are talking about it's currently at its permitted dry flow 96%, so it's only got this 4% headroom, and as Officer Coates said, that would accommodate approximately 6,010 people with 2,500 houses, so it works out to be an average of 2.4 occupancy rate. So we know what raw sewage is, the main thing in raw sewage, but also included in there are things like chemicals, we've got plastics, we've got recreational drugs, we've got pharmacy drugs now. I don't know whether anyone else in the room thinks the same as me, but I'm a bit concerned about that sort of thing getting pumped into our rivers. Now last year, 2023, we had more raw sewage spills into the Skern and also the Tees than we did the year before. Now, could that be to do with all the new builds that are getting connected? The stress home was built in 1939 when the population was about 50,000. We know what the population of Darlington is now. With all these developments, that could increase to 130, 150,000 people. So, that's me environmental hat. I'll take that off and I'll put me financial advisor's hat on now. I've been an advisor now for 30 years and I specialise in mortgages, so I know how hard it is for people to get on the property ladder. Now, we keep getting told about our adopted local plan being legally binding. It's king, it can't be deteriorated from. So I'm a little bit concerned to hear about the lack of affordable housing on this development. I'm going to quickly read a paragraph from page 50 of the adopted local plan. Darlington Borough does have substantial need for affordable homes, as detailed evidence provided by the Sharma to 2020. We're talking about approximately 4,646 houses, affordable homes. The 30 years I've done the job, I've never had a client in Darlington that said, Dave, I can't find a suitable house to buy. What I am getting at the moment is, Dave, I can't find a suitable, affordable home. We all know interest rates have gone up, the cost of living has gone up, lenders' affordability calculations are being tweaked. People cannot pick up the big mortgages that they used to be able to get. And it's going to be a while before things go back to normal, if they ever go back to normal. So we're just worried, so 750 houses for this phase one, 20% affordable homes should be 150 affordable homes, which would help. I think we've only had about 150 affordable homes built in the last 3 years in Darlington. We've got a target of 4,646, so we're well behind target. Also, when we come to affordable homes, there's a Darlington Borough Council document here, dated October 2022, First Home Policies. For any members that aren't aware of what a First Home is, it's a government scheme where Darlington Borough Council will be able to offer a minimum of 30% discount off a new build. 30% is the minimum, they can go higher if they want to. It can be prioritised for key workers such as doctors and nurses and police services and armed services. So a £250,000 house with a 30% discount of 75,000. A true first-time buyer in Darlington would be able to buy that house for 175. That would really help the housing market in Darlington. We've got a need for affordable houses. As far as I'm aware, and you know, the planning committee, planning officers might tell me otherwise, but I don't think we've had one government first home built in Darlington yet. The office I'm working in, the practice, we've arranged a number of mortgages for clients in other towns where they've had first home buying. So we'd like to see some affordable houses, we'd like to see some first homes, and that's me as a financial advisor trying to help first-time buyers in Darlington. Thank you. If anyone's got any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So, thank you, Mr. Clark. Do members have any questions? Councillor?
Like I said, you work in the mortgage sector. In regards to the types of property that people are looking to buy, what are the kind of types of property that people are looking to buy?
We're getting a lot of...
sorry, Councillor, it's not... we're talking planning applications, not house prices.
Affordable housing would be my answer. And smaller houses as well, there's a lot of single parents and smaller families, so these big 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom detaches, you know, really, we need some smaller, more affordable housing.
Thank you.
Can I?
This is a planning application committee, not an advert for whatever, or house price sales. And we keep our questions to the planning application. Okay, any further questions? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Black. You will get a chance to come back later on in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee.
Second objector, can I, Ken Hastings? No, sorry. She put me glasses on, shouldn't I? Okay.
Thank you very much indeed. You've seen me before. I'm back again for a rerun after I've been battered. Unfortunately, it's a similar subject. The application, which is the 750 houses, in my opinion, actually does impact on the sewage network system. Dave's taken a little, Mr. Coates has taken a little bit of wind out of my sail insofar as finding out some information from Northumberland Water. My first question was back in December last year, 2023. At a full council meeting, I spoke at that meeting and asked about the sewage issues. I was promised by Councillor Chris McEwen that a meeting would be set up to resolve and understand that problem between the EA and Northumberland Water. I suppose, in essence, what I'm asking is, what's the state of affairs with that? Now, that might be that Mr.
Can I say that? There's an opportunity, no, it's probably a bit late now. There would have been an opportunity to raise that again tomorrow night at full council. And I don't know whether the time you meet the time schedule. It's not an issue for this planning committee.
I think it is, because what's
No, you asked the question directly at council. You asked it of the cabinet member with responsibility for that area. It's not a planning issue as such on this application. It's a personal request from yourself for information that the councillor, cabinet member will respond to. And if he hasn't, then you are very right to chase that up. I think it's too short notice to actually get a question in for council tomorrow night. Is that correct, Bob?
The deadline for submission of any questions for tomorrow night is 6 p.m. each night.
Then they have an opportunity to put it in writing and ask the question tomorrow night of the council himself. He's got the answer, we haven't.
What I suppose I'm saying is, based on the information that Mr. Coates has actually provided this morning or this afternoon, and the planning application, the fact that Northumberland Water have now openly declared, I was aware of this back in December when I asked the question. Sorry, I'm going back to that question again. And so therefore, the reality is, I suppose, kicked in. What I'm trying to say is that there has been a scenario, I think, and in this particular application, no difference. Any issues associated with the sewage capacity has been passed on to the developers. I think it's for Darlington Borough Council to deal with the problem before the application is put forward, because otherwise you're going to have 5, 10, 15 developers having to go back to Northumbrian Water, whereas Darlington could deal with the problem, dare I say, once and for all. And timelines, like Mr. Coates has already said, are vitally important here, vitally important. If I can just say that, to not substantiate the issue, but basically to back up what Dave has actually said, sorry, Mr. Coates has actually already said, is that Darlington have already approved a planning application for a pipeline from the Middle St George area to connect Long Newton and Teesside Airport into Spesso Sewage Treatment Works. So the committee is already aware that that is equivalent to around about 2,000 houses. As we know, Teesside Airport is probably in its infancy. It might be the opposite, completely opposite way around. But there is a chance that that could grow fairly substantially. And so therefore, there's immediately 2,000 houses as of today, never mind the growth. Long Newton in itself is about 900 houses.
Chair, point of order, Chair. This is not to do with this planning application.
It very much is. It's to do with the capacity of Spesso. What I'm saying is, Spesso, that 4%, that 2,500 houses has already been allocated.
That's not this.
Right, the council is correct. I've let it go so far because of the discussion now. You need to, I'll be polite, link what you're saying to this development and this application.
Right.
The information is useful, but you've got about 45 seconds to tie it in.
Very, very simply, 750 houses won't go into Spesso. Do you want me to tell you the detail?
No, you've still got a little bit of time left.
Sorry, I can't make it a lot clearer.
Right, okay. Are there any questions from members?
Yeah.
Councillor Lee.
Chair, this is something which is, I have great difficulty understanding and accepting. The gentleman made a very, very clear case of the Coniscliffe Park 2 or 3 months ago.
I'm sorry, Councillor, but we're talking about this application, not Coniscliffe Park. Can you keep it to this application?
Yeah.
Or I'll just move on?
The point these gentlemen are making is there's overcapacity through external stuff coming in from Long Newton, wherever it is. There's a question from a professional guy who works in Northumbrian Water and he knows his business. What he's saying to us is that it's not big enough. Now you're saying it's nothing to do with, of course it's to do with this application, because if this plus the other applications go through, we don't it's
clear in the application, now when Northumbrian Water were approached, they have clearly stated that they will deal with and have to deal with any issues that arise from developments, which would include increasing their capacity. As Mr. Coates has said, there's capacity for over 2,000 houses. Yes, we give planning permission here, we give permission there. But it's got to be dealt with over the time scales of developments and the awarding of housing. So if you want to ask the gentleman a question, make it relevant to the application on the table.
I will make it relevant. Do you remember being in the planning meeting at the last stage where it was agreed that you would be allowed to meet with Darlington Council to discuss your potential worries about the...
That's the council matter. Councillor, I'm moving on. Councillor Cousins, please.
Absolutely crazy.
I think that Northumbrian Water, Streatham hasn't got the capacity. There's Northumbrian Water, will have to make somewhere else available.
I'm going to do it again, Councillor. It needs to be a question, not a statement.
Well, it's a statement. Sorry.
Councillor Beckett.
So I've seen an email from Northumbrian Water that they would be able to meet the demand as and when it arises. So if we were minded to grant for additional houses on this development, then they would expand to meet the demand for those. Is that right?
That's correct. Sorry, that's the correct statement that's within the application. And if I refer back to, the information Mr. Clark sent out, the letter you provided with that clearly stated in the response that they have the capability to increased as the years moved on, and that we're prepared to do. No, you've got a chance to come back. Right, I'm gonna move on. Thank you very much, Steve. Have a chance to come back and reflect on. If you don't get questions, you can say what you have to say, and then we'll ask you to.
Thank you, Chair. I won't reiterate some of what I've written that has been covered, but I do highlight there is this cumulative issue. I'm aware that the issue with the sewage treatment capacity is not linked only to one site, but it's additional with every site that gets permitted. And I'm aware that, yes, Coates is correct that not all of these properties will be built out at once, but it's a matter of control for the council as to whether we allow such problems to raise their heads. And once planning permission is given, we no longer have that level of control. And I would strongly urge, I'm afraid I haven't found it in the notes yet, as to whether there is something called a Grampian condition, as per what the Environment Agency requested, that for this development it would not be able to be built out until after the site developers had proven that there was capacity at the sewage treatment works. So if that's not in there, could I please ask that it be put in there? But the other point that I wanted to raise is around the pipe work, because in College Ward we suffer issues with surface water flooding. Now, College Ward is part of the older parts of town where we have combined sewers. Now, whilst for new developments it's great, they keep the surface water and the sewage separate. So only the sewage should come down. It still connects in through to the older parts of the town where there are combined sewers. So when those overflow, you just risk that there being more sewage in the combined sewer overflows. And we need to make sure that, given the record numbers of overflows we've seen over the past year or so, that this does not make it worse. And we as a council have a duty to ensure that we improve the water quality in the borough and don't allow these uncontrolled combined sewer overflow issues to make our water quality worse. And a separate point was on affordable housing. It's already been touched on. I'm very concerned that this first phase contains no affordable housing. I'm our Green Group's Shadow Cabinet Member for Health and Housing, and so I know that just last year, 2023-24, we've seen 1,396 homeless presentations. 200 odd of those were, no fault evictions. Homelessness and homeless presentations are a huge problem in Darlington, and we're told that these garden villages must be permitted because they're needed to meet the housing need in Darlington, when they are clearly not seeking to meet this very desperate housing need of at least 1,396 homes in the past year alone, without any affordable housing. It's also very concerning if it's stated that it's not viable for 20%, which is the council's normal requirement for affordable housing on a site, and it wouldn't be viable if that were included. To me, that brings up serious viability questions as to the site as a whole, and whether it should be permitted or whether it risks being left abandoned or part completed only and the infrastructure not completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair, for allowing me to speak to this committee. Members, just quickly I'd like to inform members that while there isn't a financial contribution towards affordable housing, which is for a secondary school in this area in reference in the report, there has previously been Section 106 funding secured to around about £6 million So therefore, I do hope that we do see more affordable housing brought forward with development. But you know, I'm here to represent the residents of Brinkburn and Fairfield Ward and their concerns, which you know predominantly the Brinkburn and Fairfield Ward is made up of around about 3/4 new housing over the last 20-25 years. The key issues for people in the area: ease of access, amenities, schools and transport links, and also concerns about flooding in the area. Now, firstly, while there are plans to improve safety of children travelling to school, I do feel that these fall short. There's proposals to improve the junction at Westall Road Entry Street, but this is towards the end of the journey. There's no mention at all as to how the middle of that journey will be made safer. Secondary school children will inevitably travel through a busy industrial estate and then through secluded parts of Belburn Nature Reserve. And when this development was first proposed, we could see the real benefits of completing the circular road across town, and the development would ease the flow of traffic north-west to east, which a lot of at the moment goes down the A68, which we all know is a car park most of the time. I want to testify that if you want to travel from Highway to say Winfield School, it's a 30-minute journey. Now, the spine road in this development is key, and although residents are concerned with traffic, they understand how this can be alleviated with the spine road. But I'm there really concerned is that until work's completed on the A66 Great Burton roundabout, the northern part of this road will be closed. So we have a situation where residents who potentially move into the area get used to living in a cul-de-sac. But more worryingly, we end up with a road that goes to nowhere. And all the benefits of that spine road in alleviating pressure on the A68 are lost. So I hope members are clear on when this work will be completed. My final point, people talk about flooding, etc., but I needed to include it. My final point is around flooding and sewage. And we do have problems specifically in that area between High Grange and West Auckland Road, where we have culverts which flood a lot of the time, and that's only around about 100 yards south of where the site is going to be. Now, this is known by the council, there's no reference to it in the report, but my wider concern is, as it's been previously mentioned, we're looking at the cumulative impact of development here. Now, it's been mentioned that Northumbrian Water are looking at building capacity 2030 onwards, but if we look at the current build rate, we're looking at 500 houses a year, so that 2,500 capacity that we've got is going to be eroded in 5 years. For me, there's no clear understanding as to when capacity is starting to be built in. Thank you. I would ask that the committee does not approve the application unless they can satisfy themselves with the concerns which I've raised. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Thomas?